Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. You already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict, right? And as you can tell by that thumbnail right there, yes, indeedy, I'm about to write a whole lot of graffiti. Sauce. On this motherfucking bus, graffiti's getting written. Hopefully we don't get caught, so let's get someone will probably tell, but that's just the way it goes. That's life. Susanville prison. Okay? Been there, done that. Been to several places, several prisons, several youth authorities, several juvenile halls. I done made my rounds, okay? As an ex-convict, I can tell you that prison ain't nice. It doesn't matter where you go. Some are a little bit better than others. Some got better food. Some got better yardas. Some got a little bit less, what would you say, problems. But they're all prison. Prison is prison. But level 4 yards are probably going to be the harshest prisons you can hit in California. Them 180s, man. You ain't got nothing coming. Ain't no A1A status. Ain't no none of that, man. A2B and below. You got nothing coming, right? But Susanville prison's pretty notorious. It's pretty notorious, you know. And I remember being in Tracy 2006 when I got the notification that I'm going. Sasuke, hit me on the notification. Hit me on the pager if it's major. And let me know that where I'm going. Well, they told me, roll it up. You're going to Susanville. Okay, and I remember immediately thinking I was going to hit High Desert because the first thing when I hear Susanville, I don't think about old school Susanville prison, you know, Susie's house. I think about High Desert. You know, High Desert is the one everyone talks about. High Desert is the one everyone's ain't trying to go to. High Desert is that level 4 yard where it fucking cracks, you know. My brother was on B yard for several years, you know, when it was fully functioning and active, and he would tell me how it cracked, you know, and Sasuke, half the time he couldn't tell me because they were always on lockdown. It was a lockdown situation. But at the same time, they told me, you know, roll it up. You're going to fucking Susanville prison. I said, vámonos a la Vega. Let's go. Shit, we're going to do what we have to do. Now, I was under the assumption in 2006 that Susanville prison was all bad, okay? And when I say all bad, I mean all bad for the Norteños. At the time, I was an active Northern and active Norteño, so there's a list of prisons you can and cannot go to. Now, Sasuke, you're going to be ready and maintain GP eligibility anywhere you go. Sasuke, flags can be planted. So take, for instance, if there's a prison that's not on this list, it's not no good or it is good or Sasuke, we're to go there and establish. Okay, that's right off the tippy top. Sasuke, flags will be planted, wars will be fought, Norteños will stand strong. That's it. And it goes like that for most group segments, right? But at this time, Susanville was deemed all bad. And the reason for us, and the reason why Susanville was deemed all bad was because what you had at that particular time is it was a 50-50 yard, meaning they had non-active Norteños or NGNs, no good Norteños, that were actually on this yard, and they were functioning side by side with active Sureños, whites, and blacks, okay? And there was a lot of yards at this time that were like that were 50-50 yards. So if you were active, the whole makeup was you could not go there and kick back. If you went over there and you stood longer than 72 hours, the wind blew by. Sasuke, there's no more wind blowing for you. It's a wrap. Rapalapicus, it's done. Sasuke, keep your ass right there where you're at and don't come back to the hood. That's just basically, that was the get down. So you already had 72 hours to get there, identify your targets, and handle your business. Now, some people would go and they would do just that. You know, I actually went to Jamestown. I had to do that before. So I got right off the bus to R&R, and if it was on, then it was on. And it was on, right? Of course, I went from there to the oil. They placed me in the oil. Administration said, Charlie, this about those active any functions. And they got me up out of there. So anyways, I thought that was going to be another one of these rounds. It wasn't going to be my first rodeo, but hopefully it was going to be my last. I was going to go into Susanville and do what I had to do. So at this time, what happened was administration was going to flip the yarda. They were going to flip the yarda. They were going to do what they had to do. And that was going to be it, right? So right when we got off the bus, they put people in the oil. They put us straight to the oil. All Norteños were in the oil. There was about 80 of us in the oil. I remember. And we're kicking back. And, you know, it's just like any other oil you go to. People are hitting you up where you're from. Boom, boom. Things are sliding. You're getting cleared. Things of that nature. We're not going to go into the details of that because that gets none of your business, right? But watch out. For the most part, Everything was going according to plan. I knew I was in a secure spot with some real righteous homeboys, and it was all good in the hood, and we were going to proceed as such, right? So pretty much I wanted to give you guys the straight details of what happened with my little journey through Susanville. So I get I get all the guidelines or whatever I need. I get cleared. It's all good. So now we're just waiting. It's the waiting game. We were in the oil about, I'd say about 2.5 weeks by the time I got there. Vatos had already been in the oil for a couple months. They had been sending busloads, of norteños. And it wasn't like, hey, so let's get a whole busload of 50 vatos, chale. We're talking about 4 at a time, 5 at a time, 3 at a time from certain receptions. Wasco, Kern Valley. You were getting vatos from fucking San Quentin. Everything. Well, the Tracy bus rolled up, and it was me and a couple other individuals. And Sas were right there looking around like, babosos. Where do we go? Right? To the oil. Sas, handcuffs. Boom. Then I remember one day administration coming to everybody's doors and, calling our names, telling us to roll it up. Basically, the black guys, the COs, everyone roll up your fucking mattress, roll up your shit, throw everything to the side and step outside of the doors. They started cracking all the doors in the oil. Everyone that was in there doing oil time were looking all spooked like, oh shit, there's an army down there. So I guess Simon there was, right? And they started to read off our names and put us in certain groups where we're going to go to different blocks, different buildings. Okay, so the oil at that time was the 3 block. So of course they have 1, 2, 3, and 4 block. I end up going to, I think at that time, I think it was 4 block. And if I'm correct, it's been so long. And they started to separate us by groups. There was no rhyme or reason how they did it. At least we didn't become aware of it. And they moved everyone around. So there was actually somebody back there in the oil that was on walk-alone status that was actually controlling everything. I'm not going to say his name. Let's just say he was the one, right? So everything was going to be ran back from the oil. So everybody was getting palomas, huilas, canas, whatever you want to call them, letting everybody know their position, what's going to happen, how it's going to get ran, who's going to set up who, what, where, and how. Establish it. Okay, prior to me getting there, this was already done. So I just slid in with the homeboy that was righteously fucking doing the dictations, letting everyone know who was going to do what. And it gave me my position and on I went. So I get to the building and the makeup of this building is just like any other 3-yard. It was Lassen yard, which was a 3-yard, okay? Now, on a 3-yard like this, there were some level 4s and some level 3s. It was a mixture, okay? There was a lot of lifers in this place. There was a lot of real ones. But what I noticed first and foremost right when I got to these buildings was there was a lot of white boys. And I had heard stories back in the days that this was called the White House. This is where they sent all the skinheads. This is where they sent all the woods. Not all of them, but the majority of them. And you know what? That wind was not blowing that day. They weren't lying. So there was a lot of white boys in that motherfucker. I was in that motherfucker like, everybody gonna talk kung fu tonight, right? Straight white shit. Wake me up before you go. They were in there deep. They were in there doing their thing. And so I knew my awareness had to be up. I had to be up to par, and all the homeboys around me. Now we're all looking. We're all probably pretty much thinking the same thing. Like, ¿sabes qué? This feels like Mississippi in 1962, right? Orale, there's going to be some lynching going on. We didn't know exactly what was going to go on and to what degree of going on it was going to happen, but we were ready for whatever, Being a solid northerner or norteño at that time, 2006, man, the rock and the roll was ready, homie, and we didn't give a fuck. We were about to get Guns N' Roses on their ass. Orale, slash, right? Let's do it. So I remember them selling us up, just however they sold us up with, and I get a Sally Bestia from Sacra, and he was one of those high power Sellies that fucking, he wanted to do burpees all day and night, so I get sleep. What was that? He was forever forward with the stripe, and that was all fine and dandy, Sasuke, but I was like, I gotta go sleep. What the, you know what I mean? Program shutdown means gunner shut down. And that was just it. It was like I said, it wasn't my first time in prison, so it wasn't like I was going to get played out of pocket and be one of them youngsters that's just getting ragdolled in there working out all day while the whole other homeboy's reading a book. Like, yeah, hey, down. No, it wasn't going to be none of that. So I remember us getting to these buildings and starting to establish within ourselves. And how we did that, I'm not going to put out there. Let's just say everything was running smooth like butter. It was like margarine. And what happened was the administration came. And they were like, hey, we have an idea. Before we ever got to hit the yard, they were like, we have an idea. We're going to implement this idea. We're going to let you guys know. So we were very skeptical on anything the administration would do. Because remember, obviously, man, the administration was putting people in binds, putting people in messed up situations at this time. So we didn't know exactly what was going to go on. We were just staying aware and staying up to par. Now, of course, we hit the yard a couple times. Everyone's pretty much cleared by this time from the oil. So we hit the yard. It's all function. We figure out our tables, our bars, our side of the yard, and everything's good. One thing I will say is the Southsiders, the Sureños that were there, much respects to every vato that was working there, walking the yard there. Much respects to a vato named Bert from Sangra, right? Forever, carnal, you know, a real one. He was actually my neighbor, and we're going to get into that. They kept it very respectful. There was no issues, no problems. It was kind of like, hey, we're glad to have you vatos on this yarda. You're more than welcome, homes. It's all good in the hood. You know what I mean? This is where we're at. You guys could be over here. And it was pretty much all worked out, man, on a respectful tip. And that's why, of course, like I always say, respect is the number one word, right? Because respect goes a long way when it comes to your enemiga or your adversary, man. Like I said, you can hate them all you want, homes, but you're going to have to respect them. Period, you know, because vatos will get off. There was, of course, about a 10-to-1 number of Sureños compared to Norteños, or 7-to-1. But that was a given. That's everywhere you go. You know what I mean? We were ready for that. It was what it was. Now, this being a 3/4 yard, everybody, it was mandated that everybody be ready. Okay, when I mean ready, you got to be ready to defend the casa, defend the household, defend the gente, defend your people. Okay, of course, we'd get youngsters there during this time that was like, yeah, this is a 3-yard. This ain't hardcore. This ain't a 4-yard. Well, we're about to show you how fucking hardcore it could get if you don't act right. You know, get your mind right. You know what I mean? Or you're going to shine right. You know what I mean? With sangre. And then people would become accustomed to the fact that we weren't playing. There was a whole bunch of characters there that weren't playing. Vatos that had already walked the 4-yard. Vatos that were probably going to be on their way to the 4-yard. And this was just basically a lightweight 4-yard with a 3-yard disguise. That's all it was, okay? A 270 design compared to a 180. So anyways, and for those of you that don't know, the 270 design meaning that it was a big building and you got both sides of the building. And on the 180, you're going to program on one side, tier to tier, right? Where on the 270, everybody's going to program. Building to building. I think we came out with one other building, and then the other 2 buildings came out to yard. They did 2 building release at a time, I believe. It's been a minute since I was up in it, right? So anyways, we're out on the yard functioning for, I'd say, about 2 months before the administration comes, and they give us their little rundown that they want to have MAC reps. Okay, now let me tell you what a fucking MAC rep is. They do it at some prisons. Is they want you to get a representative from each building, north, south, east, west, Kumi, Jama, white boys, whatever. Everybody has to have a representation. Sometimes I think it was 1 or 2. I think they wanted 1 at this time. And they go to the program office and they all sit down and they kumbaya. You know, they talk it out. They end the hostilities. That was never going to happen with us. There was other groups it wasn't going to happen with either, and they had already went through their motions. But now, as being active Norteños and barely start establishing that yard, we were like, Charlie Holmes, it ain't going to happen. We're not going to send a homeboy to make him a target. We're not going to send a homeboy there to fucking talk it out. We don't get down like that, right? We're not talking shit out. Get off where the fuck you're mad at, or don't get off at all. That was the Norteño way, and it continues to be. You know, there's no conforming to anything when it comes to rules and regulations. They're the cops that we're the robbers, right? So, of course, we say chale, and they say, okay, then you can't come out. You know what I mean? And they lock us in, and we're on a lightweight lockdown. When I say lightweight lockdown, I mean lockdown. You know what I mean? I just like using the word lightweight. Anyways, we're on lockdown. We ain't got nothing coming. And again, respects to Bert from Sangra and the other Sureño homeboys, because they were shooting us sopas, jabon, shampoo, oh my, right? Because they weren't even bringing us out barely 1 at a time for showers, man. It was more like on some bird bath shit, you know? For those of you that know the struggle, you know. But they were looking out, you know? And of course, that didn't stop us, man. Whether we were fucking out there on that yard function or whether we were in our cells, we were Norteños locked up, and we were going to continue our program. That's period. That was the way. That's the way it is. We're established. See, hey, headquarters is where we're at. What the? You know what I mean? Everyone knows about the Pelican Bays and the Corcorans and the Tehachapi's and all that, you know, and that's righteous, man. But you make your home where you're at. You establish and plant your flag where you're at, whether you get to come out of that cell and function or you're in that oil in that cell. Either way, man, you're doing your thing. That's it. That's the Norteño way again. Norteñoism at its finest, right? Now, of course, Sureño wasn't going on in the day when we're watching. They're out there like, out there kicking it, but they're very righteous, man. Like I said, a lot of them were looking out for all the homeboys, and this is just coming from my perspective. I don't even know what was going on the other side of the building. The homeboys were probably getting plugged in too with shit. But I know that my neighbors were very righteous individuals. For that, I'm forever grateful. You know what I mean? It's forever respect on mine. And people ask, hey, Gunner, why you got so much respect for the South? You know what I mean? Shut your mouth. You don't know why. You know, there's a lot of hardships that I went through, man, where these guys assisted me. You know, it could have been worse. You know, anyone that knows that's been in prison, that's been on a level 4 or level 3, I know that there's so much respect for each other. Other groups, man, you have to look out for one. You have to aid and abet raza. You know what I mean? When it's anyone of a raza descent, man, you need to look out for them. You know, when it's wartime, Sabes, of course it's wartime. You know, but hey, if you don't have to go that route and you can look out for your fellow brown man or any man, period, you know, that's going through some type of struggle and they're in prison. Hey, Sabes, we're all in prison together. Why not? You know, that's the warrior way. You know, don't knock a man down when he's down already. Sabes, the dog is belly up. Orale, you know what I mean? Do your thing. Orale, check it. Orale, whack, whack. Trip. So we're going through these motions. And of course, over time, administration breaks it down and they start to release us out of, you know, this lockdown situation. We're coming out one block at a time. Why they didn't let us all out at the exact same time, I can't call it like an alcoholic. They do what they do and we do what we does, right? So they start to let us out. And I notice this is where it gets sticky for me, my time in Susanville. Because I notice there's some lightweight drug usage going on. Now, anyone that's ever been in Norteño, everyone that's ever been involved understands that we didn't indulge in hard drugs at that time. I believe we continue not to indulge in hard drugs. It's just the way I was laced up. I was indoctrinated that way. I was educated that way. And everywhere I ever went, you know, whatever happened in the cell, amongst you and your cell, Sasuke, no one was to know. You know, that was your business. I'm not here to promote and say, oh, it was adhered to, was you were able to do that. But motherfuckers were getting down, doing their thing. You know, whatever they were doing, if they were getting high or whatever, they came up on low coke money, never hurt nobody. That was on them. I myself never indulged. First of all, I didn't have no money to ever buy anything. Second of all, I never came across that. Third of all, my belief was true, right? I didn't believe in getting high. I believed in keeping a clear mind and being ready so I didn't get a pico de gallo through my fucking earlobe. That was just me. So I was one of those norteños at the time where I was a true believer in the fact that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to rock a certain way. We're all going to rock that way. Not that it makes me any better than anyone else, but man, this is the rules and regulations we must go by. These are the grounds we must secure. These are the bonds that it basically is our whole holy grail, man. This is what we're going by. And so I was down with that. Of course, there were several individuals, and I've told this story before, man, in the past. I'm not going to get all the way deep into it again. Let's just say Susanville prison is where it was established, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. Vatos were getting high. You know, vatos were getting high. I didn't like it. I voiced my opinion. Should have kept my fucking mouth shut, I guess. But I did. Vato started to get aggravated with me pushing the issue, me sending fucking palomas back to the oil, to the eyes that it needed to get to. And of course, man, motherfuckers trying to make a move on me. They sent a wheelot to my cell for my cellie to make a move on me. Well, first they sent the wheelot to my cell for me to do a fucking lightweight removal, from which I didn't deny it. I questioned it. I said, this seems kind of fishy. You know, because I had already heard the rumors, hey, watch out, they're trying to get you off this yard. Keep ponte trucha. Homeboys from their block were already letting me know. Yes, indubitably they will. Hey, watch out for these individuals' gun. They're on your head, right? Okay, they're tripping, bro. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm watching out. So when they send this little thing, I already know it's a fucking little secret plan to get rid of the huelga bird, right? Because I'm over here on some shit. And of course, I ain't going out like that. So I merely question it. I don't deny a removal. Come on, you're talking to the gun here. I never denied pulling up in my life. I never denied a removal. Okay, this just never happened. But anyways, without that being said, man, they tell my celly, you got to hit the gun, man. The gun said, fuck that. Flip my celly, he ain't doing that. We go out, we do some red on red, and bam, I find myself deemed, okay? Cowardice acts, or fucking treason, or bandito, or whatever you want to call it, man. It was what it was, and it is what it is, man, and it would continue to be like that forever. Now, do I still got a love for the cause? I'm always going to have that love for the cause and the homeboys. But like these vatos said, and there's a fucking little youngster right now, it don't mean shit what you love, right? Okay, and it don't mean shit what you say either. So bang, bang, there we go. And in that fashion. Anyway, so Susanville prison. The makeup of it, like I said, was probably fucking 60% Gabas, 40% Sureños, 10% everybody else. The Africanos, I remember, the placas, I used to trip because the placas would go out of their way, it seemed like, to just be extra with the Africanos, just to be extra fucking harsh to them. You know what I mean? I should have been on the yard like Black Lives Matter, right? But they didn't have that shit at that time. So I was thinking it. They were just pretty mean to them, man. As far as us at that time, for the time that I did experience on the yard, we were indifferent to them. They looked at us just as any other Mexican guy. And so they didn't fuck with us. But I've heard horror stories of Susanville where, man, a lot of Norteños were, you know what I mean, basically shit on just because of where they're from up north, and the COs didn't identify with them. So I will say it's a pretty crooked ass place. Back then, from what I hear now, they're shutting the yards down. They're about to shut Susanville down if they haven't did it already. And it's an old ran down prison, man, way up north. You know, they need to get rid of it. It ain't doing nobody no justice. They're going to create something new, something of the future. Orale. You know what I mean? Back to the future, Marty. And I'm sure they're going to lock more people up. They're going to make bigger yards, badder yards, more isolation. This is how administration works. This is how the cops get down. Orale, your taxpayer money will lock those up. Don't trip. Anyway, so with that being said, you know, Susanville prison has a lot of history. You know, any of these old school 4-3 yards are going to have a lot of history. There's a lot of wars that have been fought. A lot of sangre has been spilled. And I did see a couple situations. And I spoke on the situation. There was gym living there. Okay, there was actually a gym. Now, in this gym, they had converted it from a gym to a big old dorm, right? And they would send some of the low-level .3s to this dorm that were actually going to be flipping to level 2s and be hitting fire camps and getting on. But these vatos were just as righteous as anyone else. I remember they had sent about 10 homeboys there to establish, and these vatos used to say they hated it, man. They had to stay up all night on posts and everything, you know, because there was a lot of people. The majority, of course, again, was Southsiders, and there was a lot of blacks in this dorm. For some reason, they sent a lot of the Africanos from that institution in there, and then there was a lot of others, and Gabas. And what happened one particular night, and this happened after I was already in the oil section, after I was already on no good status, right there on my door, all sad, right? Doors cracked. I started seeing a whole bunch of others come, or I started seeing a whole bunch of Africanos coming in and a whole bunch of Southsiders. And I noticed that those Southsiders are coming in smiling, right there, bald heads, wigging horns and shit, right there, sold right here, just mobbing. Orale, EMF, homie. Orale, Playboys, right? They're doing their thing. And I see a whole bunch of Africanos with bandages around their eyes and fucking, they look like they just been fucking dragged, right? So I start getting at this radio like, hey, what happened, bro? What happened? And come to find out, what had happened was, you know, you get mail in prison. You get mail, and this black dude, he was from Philadelphia. He had just got there, I guess. He was from out of state. He fucking got a letter with this vato from Compton's old lady's pictures in it, right? So instead of saying, hey, Spencer Holmes, I got the wrong mail. I think this is your mail, carnal. I haven't even looked at your shit. You know, be respectful or give it back to the placa. Hey, wrong guy. No, Charlie, he didn't know California politics, I guess, right? He kept this guy's pictures, threw him up in his photo album. Sa. You know what I mean? He was hitting one to him. And this Asian dude who was actually and other, you know, they wiggle and talk to everyone, was actually chopping it up with the dude looking through his photo album. You know, people show people their photo albums and seeing the chick. Well, the Asian dude was from Compton. So he recognized the chick. He knew that was homeboy's wife. So when he seen her, he asked the Africano dude, hey, who's this? Oh, yeah, it's one of my bitches, man. You know what I'm saying? The pimping was real. It was mandatory out there. Oh, orale, okay. You're from Compton? Charlie, I'm from Philadelphia. Okay. So he went back and told the Southsiders. Southsiders jammed him up immediately, right? They jam him up. Push comes to shove. They tell the Africans, you guys got to deal with him or else, right? They roll him up, tell him he has to go. But they didn't mean it like that. They meant hands-on. Hands didn't get put on. So, of course, late night, hot water gets thrown on people. Melees happen, and motherfuckers come up show. So, like I said, it rocked and it rolled in Susanville. I did see some incidences, but at the same time, it was just like any other prison yard. It's just got that old school convict mentality, kind of ramshackle, round down. And like I said, man, to this day, I don't know exactly how the yard is, the makeup of the yard, if it's 50-50, if it's active, if it's sense and why. I don't know, man. I kind of stood out that business. Just know that I did walk Lassen, Susanville yard, man. And I could say it was a rather pivotal yard in my career, you know, but at the same time, it was what it was, you know. It's going to continue to be what it be. Anyways, man, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about going out there, getting up and getting something, man, for your familia and for yourself, man. If you can't do it for yourself, you can't do it for anyone else. Stop that shit, you know. Hit that thumbs up if you like this. Continue to subscribe to Gunners Collective. You know how we do it right now. Bang, bang. If not, you can hit that thumbs down. Heavy as the head that wears that Raider crown, man. We're going to continue to do what we do. Man, if you haven't tapped in, go tap into Gunner's Profiles, where I'm dropping daily profiles on different individuals every day. It's the shit. I can't call it like an alcoholic, but so far I've heard good reviews. Bang, bang. The gun. Fuck Susanville.